welcome to Women in Cannabis. I'm your host, D. Sammy.
And I'm your host, Laura B.
And we are smoking blunts.
And building empires.
Yes, and today we have a very special guest.
Yes.
Rosie, brand ambassador extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Yes, with Free Cannabis. And we are so happy to have you on today.
Thank you. It's
Yes.
a pleasure.
We got her. Everybody want her, but we got her right now.
Yeah.
You know, for the next 20 minutes, she's ours.
Yes, however long you need me.
Rosie, tell me a little something. How long have you been in the cannabis industry?
I've been in the cannabis industry since about 2008.
Oh, old school.
Yeah,
You're OG.
so long time.
Definitely an OG.
Long
in the game.
time. Yeah, on the traditional side, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome.
So how did you get into this whole cannabis industry?
Well, it started with my family, my mom's side of the family. They've smoked, their entire life. They're hippies. That's all their background. And my dad has always smoked as well. So I kind of smelt it from him when I was little. And then as I got a teenager and I started smelling it again.
I know that smell.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, this smells familiar. It smells good, and where can I try it, or how can I try it?
So wait, what was the first time that you tried it?
Oh, the first time, actually, it was with my neighbor, who was a little bit older, and I had a group of girlfriends that would always come over to my house after school, being that my mom was always gone at work. And one day I just told them, hey, we all want to smoke bud and see what it feels like and tastes like.
And here you are 20 years later.
And here I am.
That is
20 years
listen, this is a
later.
lesson for you moms that's at work.
Yeah.
Just know they're probably smoking some reefer in their living room. Okay?
Definitely.
For sure, or the backyard, or the front porch, or whatever it is.
Right.
My mom always used to be like, she always used to tell my friends, oh, I know my daughter smokes weed, so if you hang out with her, you smoke weed. And those little papers everywhere, because before, it was like the wraps.
Just a regular
or-
joint.
Yeah. And then, and then we kind of grew into the blunt stage, and then we were like El Productos, and then
You
I was
elevated?
like, I wanted to be like LL Cool J when he came out with that song, Smoking Elpo While You Do It, whatever. And I
Oh
was
my
just
God. Let me tell you, I got a funny story. Really
Okay.
quick. Just a real quick funny story. So my best friend, we're in college, right? And we're looking all over for Dutches. We like, oh my God, because that's what we used to smoke was Dutches.
Yeah.
So, of course, the weed guy came to the room, gave us our little nickel bag, and we looking all over for Dutches. Nobody got Dutches. We don't have a car to go off campus and get the Dutches. So, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, dude, I'm going to sleep. I'm done. Like, she wakes me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, like, here. I'm like, when did we get it? I'm smoking, and I'm like, where the hell did she get freaking Dutches? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I look over the box, the cardboard box. It has thin layers peeled off. Like, she sat there and peeled off the thinnest layer of cardboard box and rolled up a blunt, and we smoked cardboard.
Hey.
So I was very dedicated to smoking back in the days.
We all did with the metal when it came to our aluminum foil and apples.
The apple, the Coke can,
the
Coke
Coke
can with the little
and-
hole. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's taking
good
it.
times.
That was like you reach rock bottom if you did not you had to get a Coke can. We used to have on Sundays, because back then we didn't really have money. We were like 18 years old, 17, and we're like nickel bags. We used to get them 2 for $5. So you get 2 for $5.
2 for $5?
2 for
For
$5
real?
with
Shut
seeds,
up.
with hella seeds. You have to put all the seeds, and if it got stuck, if it got stuck in the blunt, you'd hear the pop or whatever it was. So what we would do is all week long we would keep all of our roaches, right? So on Sunday we
course.
smoked a universal blunt.
Oh, yeah.
We named it a universal
It was like
blunt.
Sunday dinner.
It was the highest you can get because it was all the roaches opened up again and rolled up into one. It was like the best weed at the time. We were
Oh
smoking
my
like
gosh.
hella roach spray, probably like seeds, and now it's like,
That
oh,
is funny.
oh, now it's like, oh, it's not over 26% THC. Fuck
That's
that
it.
shit. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Like,
And that was the day of like red hair, chocolate
Yeah.
tie, and
no, the socks
chronic
puffed
and-
down.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
The invention
when
of the
chocolate came out.
scrunchie. When the invention of the scrunchie came out, I was like super chongalicious. So I used to have like the big, scrunchie with like the spike hair. To
Oh,
the
yeah,
side,
the fan,
the higher.
yeah, the fan.
Yeah, I used to go like that and hold it and then Aquafina. So then would dry up. My mom's like, what is
I
that?
had no business smoking. So wait, what was that, like 13, 14 you started?
Yeah, I think that was 7th grade. So
Oh,
yeah,
you
probably
know.
that was just that first time, but it didn't get real heavy until like 8th grade, freshman year.
So what was
Yeah.
the transition like? How did you start from being this curious girl smoking to actually being in the industry and making strides in the industry like you have been?
Wait, can you repeat? Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
How did you?
Did you smoke?
Right,
That was us.
that was a smoking moment.
Let me
right
drink
there.
some more coffee real quick.
That was us.
That was like, I see your lips moving, but I don't hear you. So how did you come from smoking blunts in the house with your friends on the low
Yeah.
to actually getting in the industry and being the pioneer like you have been?
Well, I mean, I've always liked cannabis and marijuana in general, and just smoking and the feeling it gave me, and it made me feel free, and it kind of probably numbed some of the stuff I was going through as a teenager at the time. But yeah, I stopped probably like my early 20s for probably like 3 years. And then got to smoking again with one of my really good friends, and after that I was just like, man, why did I stop? I mean, I know why, because I got pregnant. I
So
had my
when
daughter,
did you start actually bud tending? Because you were a bud tender for a while when you
Yeah.
first got into the industry. Because we all smoked weed, but we didn't get into the industry
Right.
till like a certain time, right?
Right.
So when did you actually get into the industry that you started like actually working at a dispensary and being a bud tender?
I think it really intrigued me, and I wanted to learn more and educate myself a little bit more about the industry and about the effects of marijuana and the different stuff that, you know, at the time that we had to offer. My dad was sick with cancer, and I lost him shortly after, you know, a year or so. And he always smoked, and I actually didn't smoke with him up until the time he was in hospice. And when I lost him, I had a job opportunity and offer for my first shop, and I kind of already knew at least the street side of like how to sell and, you know, what kind of weeds was out there and flowers. So I took it, and ever since then I've been in the industry.
So for everyone who doesn't know what a bud tender is, like we were talking a little while ago,
Yeah.
and Dee was like, "Well, what's a bud tender?"
No, because I know the term is always out there, but I just didn't know. You know, I know what a bartender is. You go to the bar and then they give you your concoction.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what a bud tender.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know what a bud tender is. So what was that phrase that you said it the best way, like at the bar? Did you forget?
Yeah.
She don't even know. I'm like,
It was like when you go to the bar, it's a bartender.
Oh yeah,
He knows
they
what you
serve
want.
you your drinks, and
Yeah.
then when you go to the shops, it's the same thing. You got a bud tender who serves you your medication, your
Yeah, so the bud
flower,
tender gets like that
cannabis.
one-on-one relationship with the patient. So when did you actually not transfer, but kind of like move from bud tender to the actual cannabis business? Because now you're with Free Cannabis. So
Right.
were you a bud tender? You went straight to Free Cannabis, or was there like interaction in the middle?
In between, I actually knew a couple guys who started their own brand, and this is when vapes were very first coming out. So there was only like a couple of brands that were out, but the oil just wasn't up to par. And they started another brand, and they knew me from bud tending when they used to come, and that's when we just started doing like PADs or brand experiences, you know, where brands come and they do the education themselves, as well as with the bud tenders about their brand. So that's why us as bud tenders can push their product, and we'll be knowledgeable on, you know, the contents and, you know, the milligrams and stuff like that. And they gave me an opportunity I couldn't resist, but to start in North Cal. So I was like, great, are you guys, you know, paying for the moving cost and, you know, for somewhere for me to live? And if so, I'm ready to go. And they did, and that's how I got into the brand ambassading or the vendor side.
So now you're with Free Cannabis, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how is it being with Free Cannabis? Because they're a concentrate company, right?
Actually, we do our own extractions. We have our own licensed facilities, and most of our concentrates and carts for free. And one of our Centurion brands is all by fresh frozen, and we distill, we extract the oil process ourselves. So we know what goes into our medication and our brand.
Wow.
Yeah.
One thing I can say about free cannabis is not only the price point is like perfect, it is that for us at our shop, it like flies off the shelf. Like they have the full grams and they have the full grams of live resin and the cartridges. And it's kind of like they just don't, like people come in and they're like, oh, do you have the free cannabis? And we're like, yeah. And it wasn't even known like 2 months ago because we didn't have them yet. And when we
Right.
got them, now they're like, oh, now they're coming back. And I
Right.
see it more and more how fast we're like getting rid of boxes and shipments of free cannabis because it's good quality. The concentrate is nice, clear colors.
I want to hear. I want to see this product live in action. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's on the table. Let's see. Ooh, got some good stuff over here.
So it's right here. We have this one is the Tres Leche. Right?
Ooh, tres leche.
And my nails are fabulous because it's
They
Valentine's.
are.
I
They're
love
putting
my
my
nails
name.
just always did. I love it.
This one is the Super Silver Haze. So these I love because they are all full grams. And then the last one we have, this is the newest one.
The gelato.
This is the
Dream.
Gelato Dream. This one just came out like last week. We just got it on the shelves. So what's really cool about today's show that we haven't done yet is we are doing donuts and dabs today.
Yes.
So
I'm so excited.
So we have brought on Lindsay, who is our the bud tender manager at the store, and she is the dab expert, right? So anytime there's anything to do about concentrates, she actually even has on we have like a group WhatsApp, and so she does like teachings every day to all the staff. So we try to keep all the staff knowledgeable because when people come in and they don't know anything and they want to learn something,
Yeah,
and
no,
you get a
it's
bud
super
tender that doesn't
important.
know anything, you're like, oh,
That's
right.
super important.
So
Well, they look good over there.
Actually,
come
move
on,
down so
Lindsay,
you guys
come
can
on
see.
down. How was it that
See her do her
video
thing.
game? I mean the
Price is Right?
The Price is Right. Come on down, Lindsay.
I was actually on that show.
So Lindsay is smoking on the Puffco, which is the Sunrise Edition. Super dope. Like these Puffcos, they are not battery. They're like charged, right?
Yeah, they're battery operated.
They're battery
rechargeable.
operated, so it's
Kinda
really
like
cool
an
about
atomizer.
this. Yeah, you could take it on the go with you, and you don't need a blowtorch or any of the other stuff that you have to do it. It just has a little click, and it turns on. You just add a little bit of water to this part right here. I'm not a dabber; she's a dabber. So
Lindsay, can you tell us what's in what is this dab stuff? Like, just tell us
dabs
what's
are
going on here.
concentrates. They're concentrates. So basically, it's a isolated version of THC or CBD or another compound that will either get you high or help with inflammation or anything like that. To me, concentrates are more medicinal. If you're used to having any kind of like pain or nausea or anything like that on a regular basis, concentrates are definitely the way to go. Most people don't really understand concentrates because it's kind of scary at first, you know, but it's one of the best ways to actually medicate, especially if you're looking for the whole entourage effect, which is basically terpenes plus THC plus CBD or any of those types of compounds all
So
wrapped
when
in
you're
one.
when you're picking like your dab, how do you pick it? Do you pick it by smell, by taste, by testing?
So I always
Texture.
recommend to do it by what your actual body needs. So if your body is looking for relief from nausea, for example, you're going to want something that's got maybe limonene in it or something that's got mint in it or something to that effect, because that's going to actually, that terpene specifically is going to help you. Most people think that THC being super high is like the only way to get high. It's not. Terpenes actually also add to that effect. So you actually do get high off of terpenes as well, depending on which terpene it is. And again, they also offer different effects. And terpenes are basically like the essential oil of cannabis. So like look at it like if you had a peppermint plant, right? So that oil extracted, that's going to be the extract. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the same kind of concept. Like if you take a concentrated version of peppermint, it can help with nausea. It can help with, like
Right.
making your breath smell better. Different things
So
like that.
how do you know when the Puffco is ready? Because I know you click it, and is it when it turns color or?
So this is how you know when it's ready. So you have to turn it on first with a long hold on the button, and then now see how it's lighting up. I had put it up to basically the third temperature on that, which is the red temperature, and then you wait for it to buzz. It takes about 20 seconds to fully come to that effect.
And then you put
And then, guys, please, can we see how cute her dab tool is? These are medicated Barbies.
Cute.
That's so cute.
That is cute. Now, which flavor was this that she was dabbing?
Platinum cookies.
Platinum cookies.
Platinum cookies from Free Cannabis. So this is your line.
Yes.
This is one of our best sellers at the store.
Good.
So Free Cannabis is a great. I wish I could dab like Lindsay. She's like,
Me too, but I
So-
call for a store.
yeah. So Barbie as well at the store. They love to dab, and this is like I think the Puffco is like the female.
It's so
Dabbed.
cute. I gotta tell you, like, I'm tempted to dab, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But it's so cute. Like, the first time I dabbed was a big doofy thing, and you send a
Yes.
torch.
No torch. Yeah, too
It
much.
looks crazy. But that,
So how does it
taste?
feel?
Yeah, how does it taste?
Tastes
How does it
amazing.
feel?
It has kind of like a hoppy kind of taste to it, similar to like a good IPA or something like that.
What's an IPA?
A beer. So
okay.
yeah. So like
They don't be out of no beer.
IPAs are like the cream of the crop. Though,
yeah, and
from
they're
what people
very
say.
they're almost skunky kind
they're
of,
more
so, but in a
crafted.
good way. Yeah.
So how many dabs do you usually take? Because I know you dab a lot. So like she doesn't even eat till she dabs. Like one day we're like after work we're gonna go eat at Applebee's or something, and she's like, I'm like, are you gonna be able to eat? Cause she's like, yeah. Of course, she's got like Puffco in the corner. She's like, yeah, I'll meet you there. And I'm
So
like,
you go
after-
everywhere with your puff.
Oh, of course.
Oh
Yeah.
my
You have
God.
to. Like, it's one of those things that, again, for me personally, I used to be on a lot of heavy muscle relaxers, and
Okay.
that's not a good way to live. Like, at all.
Yeah.
There's no quality of life. So,
Right.
with this kind of all natural concentrated cannabis, it really has replaced any kind of medication I've had to take, anything like that, and it gives me an actual like quality of life, like I was saying before. It's one of the things that you feel good every day, and I actually can function. And when I was on muscle relaxers, I wouldn't know if I was, sitting there drooling, or if I was actually, ready to do something. So with this, I actually feel like
So
a
do you
normal
not
person.
take any muscle relaxers? You
No.
only do cannabis.
I only do
So
cannabis.
she's very strong on the cannabis.
That's
When I was
amazing.
sick this
That
week,
is.
Yeah.
she was like, "Take the CBD, put it on your tooth," and I'm like,
That's
"CBD
what
all
the
over my life."
That's the advocacy that comes through, huh? Like,
Exactly.
That's funny.
So yeah, one
I was
thing.
also a caregiver before too, though. So it goes hand in hand. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so you really want to take care of people.
That's
And
what
when
I
you
was
know
saying
something
earlier.
works, like, you're
Yeah.
gonna share that with your friends.
Yeah,
And
that's what's really
lovely.
cool about her is that she knows like a lot of stuff in the cannabis, not just for concentrates and stuff, but she
Right.
knows a lot about flower and everything like that because she's been doing it for a long time. But besides that, she actually knows the different compounds and like what works for certain things. If you have anxiety, if you have depression, and that's really good to know. When you have a bud tender that's like that at a store,
Yeah.
it's like golden to know that, because when you have a new person coming in and they suffer from whatever it is,
Right.
they need to talk to someone who's going to help them, not somebody who's going to be like, oh, here, just smoke this eighth or just do
Right.
this, and they
Yeah.
don't really know anything.
Yeah. It's super important to have a
it's super
educated
important
person.
to like do that. So I'm glad you
They're the
just,
key to everything, because in cannabis itself, or the plant, it has different cannabinoids. There's so many cannabinoids that are just useful for different things.
isn't there a new one that just came out that they just said it was a CD
CBDN and THCN.
THC? Yeah, that was a new one that we just heard about the other day. There's so many of them, I don't even know. She knows pretty much like
Yeah, they just
all
found
of
the one
them.
that's THCP,
Yeah,
which
they
is supposed to be 30% more. potent.
exactly. Yeah.
Crazy.
There's over 130 compounds in cannabis alone, and they
Right.
haven't found them all. Like, so
Wow.
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you just constantly are learning more and more about it, and it's such a helpful, useful thing that as long as we can have it where it's approachable, like that's the only thing that really matters. Like I have so many customers that come in that say, thank you for not making it about a sale. Like, thank you for making it about like helping
That's
us.
super important.
Like, yeah.
I
'cause-
hate being sold. I hate
Yes,
it.
So not
exactly.
only are we important to provide the clean medication that we have, But I feel like bud tenders don't get as much credit as they deserve
Right.
because they're the ones who really, really sell this stuff, you know, and get knowledgeable about everything that goes into it. And makes it happen and pushes it out
Yeah,
there. If it weren't for you guys,
I tell all the brands, I'm like, send the bud tenders products, give them free products, have them try it out, give them brand training so they know on the product. That's the only way they're gonna sell it. How can you sell something that you've never tried? Right? That's why she's always like, oh, you're not even gonna try it. I'm just like anti-medication across the board, though. You know what I mean? So I'm like the extremist.
This is all natural.
Yeah, so she's always like, I have a stomach ache, and she's like, takes it, what was it, peppermint? What's a peppermint? And I'm like, oh my God. She always like, she knows everything, So we're always like, everyone always picks her brain for anything that has to do, even more, not even about cannabis, pretty much about like anything,
That shows that you're super in tune with that just the industry, period.
Sure.
And that's very important.
Yeah, and she does like all the Kush Talks events. Yes. And she's part of Medicated Barbies, which is like, we'll have them on the show one day too. They're super cool. And so, it's really nice to have somebody who's like really into the business and actually has been around it a long time. So back to the free cannabis. Are they more like, are those like diamonds or is it like a caviar, would you say?
I would say that's more like diamonds, honestly. And the way that you tell the difference in a lot of those things too is you can add things like terpenes, you can add distillate, you can add things for flavor. Distillate is going to be flavorless for the most part. So you can add it, basically you're isolating the THC, and that's why it has such high THC content, and that's also why everyone looks for the potency in those. But for flavor, you're literally, you have to take it all out. So you have to add those back in either with botanical terpenes or with other natural terpenes. And so again, those are going to help with the entourage effect.
So is that the difference when you see like a product, it says live resin, and the ones that don't say it, that it's just like...
That's just usually distillate,
and
live resin too is going to be, you're going to have way more terpenes in live resin, so you'll actually taste.
That's why it's more popular now?
Yeah, and a lot of people too, like, they're just looking for clean meds regardless. So when you isolate it with a distillate, it's still clean, it's just so isolated for potency. It's not really isolated for taste. So it depends on what you're, again, looking for. And that's why I always say too, you have to look for the terpenes, especially. I keep saying terpenes because everyone kind of forgets about that third effect, and the terpenes are really the entourage that puts it all together. You know what I mean? So that you need those terpenes.
So Rosie, what can we expect out of free cannabis and from you for the next year, 2 years? What can we expect?
Man, I hope just statewide, obviously. If we can go statewide with all our products, that'll be great.
Are you guys looking to like possibly expand in other states or just stay California bound?
We are. I'm not sure how far out we are from making that transition over to other states, but it would be great. I know some of us have traveled to other states and see what the laws are like and the regulations over there and the licensing and then that whole bit on the backside. So, who knows what the future's gonna hold, but I'm hoping. Yeah. And I'm hoping I'm going to be a part of it. We're all a family, Each of us for Free Cannabis Co. have been doing this for numerous years. And this is just our new little baby. And as the times grow and extraction process grows and the clean meds and, now we have the C-cell technology for all our hardware. So when it burns off, it's not going to leave, any harmful...
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people now are like C-cell.
Yeah.
C-cell. What does that actually mean?
Please tell me. I just read an article.
So C-cell is actually just like the hardware itself. So it doesn't have it has nothing to do with the medication inside. It's just this outer part.
But does every cartridge in California have to be a C-cell now?
You know what? Good question on that part. I'm not sure if every single one has to be C-cell, but I know when we were just shopping around for our hardware, for our medication, this was the best one to go with.
Yeah, because a
that's
lot of
not
people
gonna
say
leave.
like, is it CISO? Is it CISO? And people are like, well, some people are like, well, what does that mean? What does CISO actually mean?
Yeah,
And
so it's just the hardware. So like just like how this is just a regular Puffco, the same thing. It's just the hardware on side. Our batteries and our cartridges
Oh,
are
yes.
the exact same.
I want to try
So
this.
this is the other company you're with, which is Centurion.
Centurion.
So Centurion is super cool because they have like a clear.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like a
wow,
clear
it is
distillate,
clear.
right?
Yes, our
it's
water
completely
clear side.
I have patients who absolutely love it. They only come for that. They're like clear syringes too, and they dab it directly.
Yes.
But if you see it, it's completely clear. You're used
It's
to seeing like the
completely clear.
yellow one
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
I've never seen it clear.
Yeah.
We're not gonna smoke that yet because we're gonna finish this episode.
Well, I'm going to smoke it afterwards with a donut.
Yes. So I have one other question for you,
Okay.
and you know I like to ask this to all the females we bring on: is how do you feel when you hear men say that the cannabis industry is male dominant?
It's funny because when I was thinking about this, if you were gonna ask for something down that line, was when I guess you could say men in this industry open a shop or start a new brand. Who are the ones they always come to sell and push their product or run their shop? And I'm not saying all shops are like that or all their managers in the back end are all females, but they always want women. It's always more the women, and it's because of the looks, one, but two, you know, like I don't know what it is about us. That
I
we're
think
just
it's
a little,
because we're more organized, we're more goal oriented, we're more
Right.
structured and focused on just the overall
Right.
production of everything, and you know, we'll get the job done.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, who else would run a
And I
family
love
and
that-
a business?
Right.
You
And
know?
I love that more women are getting into the industry
Yeah.
and starting their own products and their own brands, and, you know, getting licensed in facilities and in grows. And, you know, I know a lot of female, I'm sure you will have some on this podcast, growers, you know, that are always on the back end that never get seen or known for their work, and they're the ones who know the whole genetics that even goes into any of this stuff. The same thing, bud tenders coming from, you know, years of being a bud tender in multiple shops in LA. We don't get that recognition for the work that we do. So seeing it evolve, and you know, a lot of more women going out there and pushing those.
I feel like there's so many women products right now that it's kind of like impossible for us not to be like not taking over, but kind of like taking over.
Yeah.
We're getting
kind
much
of building
more
empires.
press coverage than just a regular,
Yes.
or just a male-dominated brand. Much more press coverage. You're standing out like a lot.
There's
So
more
I think it's so
societies, like
exciting.
Women's Grow Society that you're seeing. You know, I've been following them for years, so it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I'm so happy that you guys came on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I'm
you for
looking
having
forward
me.
to the evolution of.
Oh wait,
the
one more
cannabis
question.
too.
One more question we forgot to ask. Do you have any funny stories that you've had with cannabis? 'Cause
Oh,
we've had a couple of you.
I do. Okay, well, being that we did talk about my dad, and that was when I was like 16. He was taking me home. Him and my mom were separated, so he was taking me home after spending a weekend with him, and he goes over and he knows that at this point, I'm sure from my mom, I'm already smoking and, you know, just hanging out and enjoying my teenage years. And he pulls over and he looks over to me and he's like, hey, you know how to roll a joint? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, okay, here, roll this for me. So he's driving down the freeway and I roll it, and I'm like super proud because at this point, like I've been already like rolling for a while, but I've got it down to a T where it wasn't like a pinner or all
It's an art. It's
zigzag
an art.
or pregnant, you know, it's like full one size. So I give it to him, he sparks it up, and he looks over at me and he's like, and I'm like, oh yeah.
That was a brand.
Okay. Takes a few more hits, and I'm like, just looking, like waiting, and he's like, oh, you didn't think I was gonna pass this to you, did you? And I was like, damn!
I drove the ride. I drove rolling.
Yeah, he
You're
was
not
like,
smoking.
I just can't smoke with you. So it wasn't until when he was in the hospital then we started smoking with
He was like, I'm just gonna smoke it in front of you. Thanks for rolling it up, though.
And then other than that, like, oh, it saved my life out of so many things. Like, I got a flat tire one time. Some dude pulled over because I'm all dressed up for work. It takes off my whole rim, goes and gets the tire on the whole rim, so not just like, a spare.
Yeah.
And in exchange for weed. So not only did I not have to buy a new tire.
That is so. Weed will
Yes.
solve everybody's problem.
Yes.
It's just like, hey, I need this. I got
Yes.
some weed right here.
It will save you.
I love that. I love that.
Awesome. So let's wrap it up.
Yes, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
guys
Really
appreciate it,
ladies.
and we really appreciate your knowledge.
Yes,
And
yes.
your whole
Anytime.
Puffco piece. And
So cute.
I love that.
Absolutely. It's
I
the
love
best
it.
way to smoke. It really is. It's
It
super
is.
smooth.
I'm gonna have to
and
get you
just-
the plug on the
Yes,
travel
yes,
one.
I need that for sure.
So cute.
I'm so excited to.
She's
to
like, I
have
want
you.
to dab it just 'cause it's cute.
I really do because it's
You
so
wanna
cute.
try it?
No, I'm gonna stick to the pen. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to this. I'm gonna get nice and
Toast on
eat
that one.
some donuts, and I look forward to seeing you ladies in the
Thank
future.
you,
And
ladies.
you coming back on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Gotta come back.
Yes,
Sure.
I would love to. Anytime.
Yeah, now let's go
And
back.
congratulations, ladies.
Thank you. So let's close like the way we did it last time.
Yes.
Lindsay holding the pretty gold thing, and also you holding the pen.
Okay. And I want you to get close up of when we're talking about the
Oh, where's the top of the free cannabis?
not the Puffco free pen. It's the actual product, the actual smoke, live resin. I want you to get when she's talking about it. I want him to cut away to actually look at the product. Yeah.
We'll get that B-roll.
Yeah, B-roll. Yeah. 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 Okay. So you just want me to just do like this?
Oh, for now, just worry about the closeout, and then I'll get that.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming on the show and dropping us all those jewels that you just
Yes.
did.
Thank you guys.
I mean,
so
I learned
much.
a lot because
Thank
I didn't
you.
even know anything about live resin or
Nice.
dabbing. except
There's
for
so
the
much
epic
to learn,
fail.
like
Yeah.
so much to learn. We're both gonna learn together because I learn
Right.
every day. Cannabis is an endless education. There's like
Definitely.
every day you think you know something and
Yeah, and
something
something
else
else
comes
comes
out.
out.
There's another component that came out. Now there's this.
It's always
So-
something, but I'm looking forward to learning too.
Yeah.
But thank you so much again, and we are so excited to bring you this episode. Make sure you swipe up. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes,
and,
follow all our
um,
social media.
Yes, yes, yes. And also, if you want to find if you want to know where to find free cannabis, make sure you DM us, and we will send you some locations.
Yes, and make sure you follow our podcast.
Yeah.